Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning. I hope today is a good day for our internet because I just checked before I came on and the speed looks really good. So hopefully we're going to be fast today and no internet issues. So welcome. Here we are. 2021. Who else is here? Lynn and Dave, hopefully. Michael, good morning. And Michael says hello to everyone. And then I'd like to say hello potentially to Steve, because he is a diehard and is always there. And I haven't been mentioning him as often as I should. And then he sends me an email saying, oh, I was there, or this was great, or that was great, or whatever. So Steve, welcome, and Joy, if you're out there, modify accordingly. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Claudia. Sue B, you're back, great. And Sue, you're from the Yukon, right? Or from Canada, like way up there. So I think that I have the right Sue, because there was two of you that day that I think were new. So if you're that Sue in Canada, sorry, it's 90 degrees down here. I was on a call last night with a lot of my Canadian friends, and they were talking about how it's so gray right now and so cold and no sun. And in Los Angeles, we were 90 degrees yesterday, and I think it'll be in the 80s today. So it's like, what? Anyway, super crazy. Yeah, okay, great. So just know there's a lot of sunshine energy coming this way today. Oh my God, what? So minus 15 Celsius is even like an unheard of number for us because we do Fahrenheit. So if that's what it is Celsius, it must be like, wow. Oh my gosh. Whew. Crazy. I do prefer the cold though over the heat, but that is definitely super cold. We'll stay warm. All right, so let's begin. Unless you have anything in particular. So if anybody has anything today in particular they'd like to share with me, anything that's an issue. Cindy and George, great, because I was wondering if I've seen you. Did I see you last week? Was it last week, my first week? I don't know. It's all blending together. So anyway, welcome. Really, really nice to have you guys here. And George, if you want to pop in any jokes on the side, George would tell us jokes every weekend. And I was reading them for like the first 9 months, I think. But what I realized is he has some off-color jokes. Off-color, right? Or off-color. I think it's off-color. Jokes. And I wasn't giving them justice because he would send me over a list. I'm like, I can't say that. It's political. I can't say that. It's a little bit sexual or whatever. But, you know, coming from George, it's great because it's his shtick. He's the comedian. So anyway, if you want to pop in anything there, George, whether it could be at the end of class too, for people to get a little chuckle, because he's really funny and he kept us laughing every week. All right, so let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble up and shake up all the dust that exists in our bodies. And I've said that before, that we're going to shake up the dust in our body. And it takes on a whole new meaning for me because what I'm learning these days, and I don't know if it's just me learning it, actually, we are all learning it because it's just happening. We're understanding fascia in a way that we didn't before. We're understanding the body and this protective aspect the body has of bringing minerals, and in particular, some of the harder minerals like calcium that builds bones and teeth. We're bringing minerals to certain parts of our bodies when we have an issue, an injury, a tear. When we're getting older, so that would be from wear and tear or usage. The body brings protection there. And if we don't use that and move it and break it up, then it eventually hardens. And that's where all that stiffness comes from. So it's a protective mechanism that the body does, which is fantastic, to bring the minerals to where they're needed. And so call them deposits of arthritis. Is in my training in India, he calls them arthritic deposits, where the body is trying to protect whatever's happening. And so I like today to be thinking about the word stress. So this is a stress reduction or stress management class. And when I call it stress management, I realize, or yoga for stress reduction, that yoga itself is stress reducing. That's what this practice is. This practice is to bring you right here, right now, to this present moment. And so we're going to do physical practice today, and I want you to do your pace. I want you to do you, because everyone else is taken. I don't want you to try to look like what I'm doing. I want you to do the practice that fits in your body. So the intention in the asana portion of this practice is to lengthen or strengthen or shake up and move around deposits so they don't stick. So if our body was like garden hose, we're taking all the kinks out of the hose so that when you turn the water on, that the flow of water comes out the end of the hose perfect without kinking. So any movement is good movement. And that's what I want you to know. If I teach something that you can't do, that's okay. That's okay. You'll do something else instead. So for today's practice, I like a lot of props. And I'm going to show you what the yoga props are. And I know many of you don't have these. For those of you that do, if you did have a bolster, and if you don't have one, what do you have at home that could look like this? Could it be a pretty sturdy blanket that's a heavy, thick blanket that's rolled up in a circular pattern or kind of squared into a tube or whatever you would call this shape? Or maybe you go grab a couple of pillows off your bed or off of your sofa or wherever, and that becomes your bolster. I'd like you to have a few blankets, because one may be for the head, one may be for the body, especially if you're in a place that it's cold and you want to cover yourself up. We are going to use props to allow the body to go into a place of relaxation. So we're going to use support to release stress that's held in our bodies. And this can be a really great way to do that. Also a block. And if you don't have a block, a rolled up blanket would be like that. And then also a strap. So I'd like to really focus today on stretching tissue and breaking up the potential for the safety minerals that are coming to protect your joints, to get it to flow and to move. And then we're going to strengthen the muscles to hold the joints in a aligned place so the body doesn't need that protection. So we're going to create the health and healing and alignment in the body so that the body doesn't need that. So I want you to think about that. We're working on alignment everywhere, in every joint in your body when we practice yoga. And then we're working on alignment in the parts of you we can't see, your mental, emotional self, where we're going to get into the beginning. I said we're like a hose. So this would be where we turn on the faucet. This is where you turn on the faucet with your senses that causes all of that breakdown that happens in the body. Okay. So maybe too deep. I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully I can articulate this wisdom in a palatable 2021 kind of way. All right. So let's begin. So I'm going to give a couple of options here. If you have a back that's not feeling so great, you deal with some low back issues, if you elevate your feet. Now, when I'm in class, let me show you. When I'm in a place where I have props, I am so happy because I can use all my props to do this. And those that practice with me usually have that option. This they call London Bridge, and because it falls down. So this here is an elevation of a bolster on 2 blocks, which is, I believe, the best, ideal, amazing for low back to kind of get some relaxation. If you don't have this, then if you're at home, pile up pillows. Make a pretty high place for you to rest your legs or your calf area on that. So that's one option. And then you would come on the floor and lie down and put your head here and put your legs over here, especially the back of the knee joints supported here. That could be a really yummy thing to do. And then the other thing could be an and or. You could just come into a chest expansion, which is good to take sitting out of the body, to take this position. So this could be a good way for you to modify that. And for some of you, you may need to have a blanket up by your head as well, depending on what you've got going on in your body. So we're going to try to come on the floor and allow the position to dictate that relaxation in the body. So bring yourself onto the floor, whatever you're going to do. So the blanket, you could have these underneath your knees. I guess I'll just have everything. I'll do it all to show you. And then you find whatever in this you want. So even if you don't have anything underneath your knees, having this underneath your chest is a really nice correction, to get a little correction going in the body. And actually, me in this position that I'm in, I'm creating so much length and stretch in my body. I'm actually stretching my body glove. And I feel that stretch. I feel that stretch at my lower ribs. So the muscles in the belly area, which get tight because we sit so often. So that whole abdominal wall area, the front getting stretched, that feels great. And then I'm also feeling the back of my body, because whatever issues I have in my body, I feel that stretch in the side of me that is more tight. And then the arms go out to the side. So remember, don't make yourself fit into a pose. Make the pose fit you. So find what's the most appropriate for you. And if you are in a place that's chilly, cover yourself in a blanket. So that's another good thing to do as well. Now this is kind of like a supported, well, I'm not sure exactly what the name would be, because there's many different things we're doing here. We're doing that fish pose aspect up here. So what I'll call it is yummy. So bring yourself in and then move your body around so that you actually hopefully either feel a gentle stretch somewhere, or you just feel complete relaxation coming into your body. The closer you come to a supine position lying on the ground, the more relaxation, stimulation occurs in the body. So the physical position here in and of itself helps to stimulate relaxation and is an anti-stress motion. So move until you feel totally supported, totally comfortable, arms out to the sides, in whatever feels appropriate for you. And then bring your awareness to your eyes, close your eyes, let your jaw soften, back teeth separate. As if you were standing above yourself, looking down at yourself. Notice yourself here. Notice what your body's doing. Keep your mouth closed, breathe in and out through your nose. Bringing your awareness to your torso area. Notice what moves when you breathe. So you're turning your focus inward, noticing your body moving. Let your awareness go from whatever speed it was traveling at, and wherever it was in terms of distance from you. Bring yourself here. You're noticing yourself. And now bring yourself into your body. Let's begin down at the right foot and the right lower leg, the knee, and the right upper leg. And then the entire right leg. See if you can release, let go, let it be heavy. Bringing your awareness over to the left foot, the left lower leg, left knee, left upper leg, and then the entire left leg, let it go. Time to relax. No more holding. So let the muscles soften, let them melt, let them relax. Bring your awareness to your pelvis and feel the back of your body on the floor. Very center is the base of your spine. The pelvis. In the pelvis, the center of the pelvis is the space of your spine. So feel that connection and that support, that grounding aspect of you and the floor. And depending on what you're resting on, how far away you are from the earth. I've heard this sacrum being referred to as a sacred bone, making that connection to what you're resting your body on. And then bring your awareness to your lower spine. Notice how it feels now. Low back, low spine. Bring your awareness to your rib cage. Feel your rib cage supported, whatever's behind it. Bring your awareness to your right hand, the right lower arm, the elbow, the right upper arm, and your entire right arm, and let it release. Bring your awareness over to your left hand, left lower arm, left elbow, left upper arm, and your entire left arm. Let it go. And then bring your awareness to your neck. Let it be soft, relaxed. To the center of the back of the head. Let the weight of the head go. Feel the entire back body. Feel your body in a relaxed position. And you're releasing the contraction in any muscle you have control of or awareness of. So I'm going to do a breath of peace, a breath of equal inhale, equal exhale. I'd like you to bring this breath down to the lower ribs. So visualizing at the lower ribs, the front of the ribs, the side and the back. Visualize that whole part of your body, pretty much almost the middle of our body. Begin to bring your awareness there and notice the movement there. And visualize that you have an inner tube around your body, the front, the sides, and the back. And try to feel the back as much as you feel the sides and the front. You breathe into this lower rib area. You feel the ribs moving back towards that inner tube, trying to press towards the ground. Let your mind follow. So see the pathway of the breath as it comes in the nostrils, all the way down to the back of the ribs. And feel the ribs pressing backwards. Maybe you feel them pressing into the floor if your back is resting on the floor. If at any point you start to notice digestive sounds, the belly gurgling, that's a good sign. That's a sign that your body is in the place of digestion and that digestive activity is taking place because you've turned down the volume control in other areas of your brain and you've allowed your body to feel safe enough to digest whatever food you've eaten today, or if it's still digesting something from before. Bringing your awareness to your nose, breathe in to that inner tube, that invisible inner tube around your body, backwards, feeling the movement towards the ground. Visualizing, feeling, incorporating as much of the sensory awareness with this action. And then bring your awareness to the side of the lower ribs, breathing in and out. Feel your sides getting bigger as if they're pushing into the inner tube on the side. And then the front of the lower ribs, easier to feel this. Breathe down to the front of your lower ribs as if you're breathing into an inner tube. And see if you could be in your body. It's a muscle that's attached to these lower ribs. So as you get to the top of that inhale, see if you could feel a stretch as you expand your diaphragm as big as it can move. And notice anything else you notice, especially in the abdominal area or the low back area, as that diaphragm presses down into the abdominal cavity where all your organs of digestion are. Right near the diaphragm is the stomach and the liver, pancreas. And the beginning of the diaphragm, or the end of the diaphragm, or the continuum of the diaphragm, attaches right where the adrenal glands are in the kidneys, on the spine. So as you breathe in, feel this expansion and feel that diaphragm moving and massaging and pressing into your organs to help move stuff in, stuff out, move the vessels in the abdominal area, lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, the intestines move. I'm going to count you through a couple of rounds of Sukha Pranayama, or the breath of peace, which is an even breath of 6 on the inhale and 6 on the exhale. So I'll do the counting, follow my breath, bringing your awareness to this diaphragm area, to the lower ribs, feeling that expansion as the diaphragm moves downward towards your feet, gently moving and warming up your deep insides. Let's prepare. Take an exhale. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue on your own, counting in your mind, feeling your diaphragm expand, moving downward, outward, backwards, upward. Stay with your breath. If you get distracted, keep counting. 6 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale. Notice if both sides of your diaphragm are moving equally. So be in the right, be in the left. Finishing the breath you're on, take 2 more breaths like this. When you finish your last breath, let the breath go. Give the breath back to the body. Bring your awareness to your fingers and your toes as you begin to move your fingers and toes, and then move your body in whichever way your body tells you it wants to move. Like when we wake up in the morning and we go into a yawn or a stretch, and we just move in a natural way, allowing the body to be the guide. So find right now whatever movement your body tells you it wants to do, closing your eyes and feeling your way into what feels yummy for you. The Sukha Pranayama, the 6-count breath, will put you at about 6 breaths per minute. And 6 breaths per minute is about half of what the average adult does. So it has the potential to bring the breath into double the usage. So instead of doing those short, shallow 12 to 15 breaths per minute, which is average, it'll bring you into a slower breathing pattern. And the natural sinus rhythm of the heart is calibrated at 6 breaths per minute. So it's a way to harmonize the cardiovascular system with the respiratory system, which when we find harmony and balance inside the body, we are de-stressing aspects of our body. So it's a really nice thing. It's called Sukha Pranayama, and Sukha is a Sanskrit word for peace or harmony. 6 and 6 is what we were going for there. Okay, bringing your knees into your chest. Let's roll onto our side. If you did have a blanket underneath your thoracic spine, it's nice to wait a little bit before you pop up, because there was some deep stretching taking place in your vertebra, in your spine, in your thoracic spine. And this is the least flexible part of the spine. It's also where a lot of the tension comes when we sit and stand, because there's a forward presentation in our posture, and the break or the bend in the back occurs right around this area, which is why we did that today. I really recommend doing this a few times, either daily or a few times a week. To come up to seated, let's take the hand on the floor and push yourself away gently. So come away, pushing yourself away gently. So the blanket behind the spine is lovely for those of you that have a bolster. Putting a bolster behind your spine with a block behind your head is also a nice thing to do. And it's a great way to take sitting out of our body. And because we're spending so much more time at home, we have the time for this. So we have the time to do this. I'll tell you that I actually did this when I was watching something. So the best thing to do, of course, is to take the time out to integrate the body, the mind, and the soul, to breathe, to be in that present moment. And it's also good for therapeutic to take that postural position out of your body. So you could even do this on the floor if you were watching something and not the news, not anything negative that's going to be attacking your being, but rather something that is really nice. All right. So let's do some movement here. I'd like to do a lot of flowing movement type practice today, because I mentioned the arthritic deposits that are protective in our body, that move around the body and eventually harden, and they create that stiffness that we feel in our body. So I'd like to do some fluid movements here. And then I'd like to also note that you have to find what's appropriate for you. And I know I said that at the beginning of class, but I cannot stress that enough. Any movement is good. And I think it was actually Dr. Fishman I was listening to, or Dr. Lipton, I don't know who, but I am always learning, especially about the aging process and how to make this as smooth as possible. It is impossible for us to be healthy if we are not moving. Or actually, it was Dr. Ananda that said it in my training. It is impossible for us to be healthy if we do not move. So the more movement you have, the healthier you will be. So try to free up issues you have in your tissues, tightness that you have in your joints that limit your range of motion, so you can bring in more movement. ROM, range of motion. Let's increase our range of motion. Let's come onto all fours. Let's start as we began this whole shebang by crawling around, either forward and backwards or in circular patterns. Keep your head up and look forward. And this is going to be strengthening those upper back and neck muscles that get so stressed out, and they're always working for you to hold your head up when you are standing. So let's try this in this position here, getting those muscles to strengthen that are in the back of the body. So crawling around, trying to bring this more into your life, and then come all the way up. Okay, I just had a thought, and I've not really thought about this before. So I always talk about fall prevention, and I think that becomes a little bit more prominent or profound for us as we age, and fear of falling is a huge one. I see it in the people I work with. So I'm always trying to say, we're going to do this for fall prevention. We're going to do this for fall prevention. So today I just thought about crawling around. If you did fall and you needed to crawl to get somewhere to stand up, we need to be able to learn how to crawl too. So we're doing this for increasing range of motion in our joints and also for deeply setting our joints. Okay, we do need a prop for this first one. So you will need blankets or fold. So if you have a bolster, that's what I would prefer. If not, you could get pillows, maybe 2 or 3. The tighter you are and the less range of motion you have in your body, and you know who you are, then maybe you would have three of them. And then the other thing is you could take a couple of blankets and fold blankets up and stack your blankets one on top of each other, so that could be something as well. So whatever it needs to be, it'll be easier for you if you have something here. We're going to do this flow. I love this flow. And it can be tough. Maybe it's going to look like it might be easy, but it can be tough. If you have osteoporosis, you want to make sure that you don't round your upper spine. So it's really osteoporosis. With osteopenia, they say to be careful, but if you have a diagnosis of osteoporosis, you want to be careful. And if you have a lot of roundness in your spine already, just be really careful with that. You don't want to round your spine. So if you do not have osteoporosis, you could begin this in what's called child's pose. And this is a forward fold, which will stretch the spine and help to release and mobilize some of those arthritic deposits I was speaking about. So you can come all the way back with your heels, tushy on your heels. And if your body doesn't work like this and your knees don't bend like this, or if you have osteoporosis, you can keep your tushy in the air in what's called puppy dog. And if you look at my spine here, my spine is straight. So when the arms are forward and the tushy's in the air like this, I'm keeping my spine nice and straight. Whereas if I come into my child's pose, then there's more of a rounding that comes into my spine, but you have to be able to bend your knees for this. So you choose what's appropriate for you. So come here, and then we're going to come forward, go slow, have your pointer fingers forward, spread your hands. You're going to come so that your wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in alignment. And then look ahead, and not just straight down, but ahead and kind of up. And then you're going to bend your elbows slowly. Push your fingertips into the floor. Push your palms into the floor. Go slow, because this is the opportunity to strengthen the upper body, and that's important. Then you're going to let your body rest, yield, and let go of the weight of your body. Push your hands into the floor. Draw your hands back towards your feet. They're on the floor, but they're pushing down. And then you're going to bring your body up in what's called, this is like a cobra pose. And then you're going to push your belly button to your spine and bring yourself back to your either puppy dog or child's pose. You're going to inhale to come forward. Look forward a little bit. Exhale to lower down slow. Go slow here. The goal is not to get to the floor. The goal is the journey on the way down. Exhale when the body folds, when the hip joint folds. Inhale when you start to open your body, coming forward. Exhale when you lower down, because now your elbows are bending, you're flexing the upper body. Inhale to open your throat and chest. Feel the stretch. We're stretching the front body and the back body. So our skin suit, our body glove outside, and then the entire fascial wrapping that's on the inside to help to break up congestion, taking the kink out of the hose. Open your throat. Use your breath here. Feel your body. Close your eyes. Feel what's happening through each movement. Go slow. Inhale. And it's nice to go through it slow through your joints, especially those of you that have issues in those joints. Find what's a safe place to move and see if you can release stuff, lubricate. Let's do, actually, if you want to do a little bit more stronger work for your upper body, you could take away your prop. So taking away the prop's a little bit more challenging. Go slow. And then bring yourself back. Stay in your puppy dog or your child's pose, wherever you are. Forward folding is relaxing for the nervous system. And then notice what happens here with your body in terms of this. It's a way to calm the nervous system, and I want you to be in a place where you're not putting too much pressure in your joints so that there's actually discomfort. And then let's bring ourselves up. So let's just do another one here. This one here is puppy or child's to up dog. It's a deeper stretch because hopefully we warmed up the abdominal area here. So you can do a couple forward and back, whether you have the prop there or not. Really inhale your body, open here, stretch, 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 exhale. Let's just do 2 more of these. And then bring yourself back. Let's do a lateral stretch. So walk your hands over to one side. Actually, let's all go to the right. And I wonder how many of you were at the right. For those of us that are right-handed, that might be where we go the most. Okay, 1 second. It's so funny. We got a Roomba. I don't know if you guys know what a Roomba is, but it's that vacuum, that circle vacuum that goes on the floor and cleans the floor. It's unbelievable. It's super amazing. So I hear the Roomba banging on my door. So I feel like I want to turn it off because it's going to bug me. And usually I don't get distracted by things, but I hear it's like banging on my door. Okay, so sorry. Let me just get rid of my Roomba. Okay, I usually don't do that, but it's banging the door. All right, so where were we? So I was wondering if many of you went over to the right, because 2/3 of the world's population is right-handed. So I want you to come here. We're in our puppy dog. I want you to take your hands over to the right. And you'll notice that my tushy is hovering in the, like, closer to my heels. Make sure your tushy's not right above your knees. This is important. So the weight of the pelvis is moving back to the ankles and to the lower legs. So keep the body weight moving back. And then you're going to take your hands over to the right. The left hand, let the left hand walk on the floor away from you, and then rest your head on the left arm. And hopefully you feel a pretty strong stretch on the side of your body. There's a very strong band of connective tissue here. There's also a lot of lymphatic vessels on the side of our body. So this is the ability to stretch the lymphatic system. So it's good for immune health. And we know now, there's been studies that when we stretch muscles, we also stretch the tissue. So the fascia and the vessels, the lymphatic vessels and blood vessels. So take deep breaths here. On the exhale, you relax deeper into that stretch. And then come back. So I feel that really intensely. And I hope that I'm able to articulate that to you, because that can be a great way to free up some of the issues that some of you have in the low back. This is stretching the whole side body. So it's and also it takes away some of that tension, that upper back and neck tension, as the body gets really tight in that lower section. So really the key is that the tushy is not right above the knees. The tushy is moving back. So the weight of the body is moving back. Let's go to the other side. Walk your hands over to the left, and your hands are over to the left, and then the right hand walks away from you. So you may even feel a lot of stretch here on the right side. And then if you let your head press into that right arm, you'll feel it a little deeper. So whatever it is, and then allow your body weight to be falling back. So almost like you feel like you have to press your hands into the floor to hold your body from falling backwards. And then deep breaths down to that diaphragm like we began today. So the diaphragm is joining the stretch party here. And when the diaphragm moves down, it actually helps to accentuate that stretch. So go to where you can feel a pretty intense stretch that feels appropriate. And then take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. I'd like to stretch the wrists. So for those of you that, some of you will be able to do a pretty intense wrist stretch like this, where you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this, but my palms are facing upwards, right? I'm not like this. My hands are not like that. I took my hand and I flipped my hand so that I'm on the back of my hands and my fingers are facing my body. The key is that if you let the body weight go back here, it'll lessen the intensity. The more forward you come, the more intense this is. Or sorry, the more forward you come, the less intense. And when you move your body back, you actually increase the intensity of that wrist stretch. So feel what feels appropriate for you. For those of you, if that's too crazy, you could come up here and you could do the wrist stretch like this, because this is what we're doing on the ground. So we're either using body weight for it, or you can come up and do this. And then the other one is this. You press, you put the palm. So I took my hands are forward and I'm going to turn my fingers so that my fingertips are facing me. The palms of my hands are on the floor, and I'm going to go back a little bit, just a little bit of movement here. And it's pretty intense underneath the arms on both forearms. So do what feels appropriate for you. This is an important area to stretch and to have a lot of range of motion here, so that if you do trip or fall and you need to put your hand down, you'll have the play or the ability in your body to withstand that pressure. And then if you were doing it up here, you would do this. So do whatever is appropriate for you. Feel that stretch in the wrists. And then go ahead and bring yourself back. Let's take some. Okay, then I'd like you to take your hands back down. Hopefully your wrists are okay here. I'd like to do just a little bit of something here. So we're going to do a little spinal balance position here. So take your right hand out and your left leg away. Your head is looking down towards the ground. You're going to inhale to let both of your limbs move off the floor, and exhale to tap them down. Keep them straight. No bend in the knee, no bend in the elbow. And then press your left fingertips into the floor. That'll really help to distribute the weight that's in that left wrist. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Last time, you're going to inhale to rise. Stay here. Stay here. Gaze is down at the mat. Turn your palm in. Fingertips reach away from you. Foot reaches away from you. Now imagine you're on a stretcher here. So you're getting nice and long. Stretch your body. And then if you want a little bit more, you could lift that right foot off the floor. Contract your tummy. You could take the left leg out to the left. You could take the right arm out to the right. Just adding some challenge here, moving the limbs into different areas, so that you have to balance, really press those left fingers into the floor, bring yourself back to center, and then bring yourself down. This would be the situation where I said we're bringing some stress into the body. So here we're strengthening the balance aspects of us, and we're also strengthening postural aspects of the back of the body. Let's slide the left hand out, slide the right leg out, inhale to rise, exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale to rise. Stay here. And then press your right fingers into the floor, because that will help to distribute the weight in the right hand. So we're strengthening that wrist joint area now. If you'd like to challenge yourself with balance, you could lift the left leg off, moving right leg out to the side, left arm, whatever. Just playing with this and challenging yourself in this position to strengthen your balance, to strengthen your alignment and the muscles that support that alignment. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Shake your hands. So that was a lot for the wrists, a lot of stretching, a lot of work. So taking the kinks out of the hoses for sure. Okay. So let's take a strap. I'd like to do a little chest expansion. And if you could sit in a hero's pose, which is this, and you could use a block between your knees. I know that not all of you can do that, so you're going to be able to be up high. So like that, or even a bolster or something under in between. So you could be down low in the hero's pose, or You could come up to a high position. Being on our knee or shins like this actually is strengthening for the hip joint. So strengthening the pelvic area. So we're gonna take the strap really long, and you'll watch me for a second. If anybody has shoulder issues, your inner awareness or your inner intelligence is gonna say, no way, I can't. Or it may say, yeah, okay, no problem. So you're gonna take the strap, try not to bend the elbows. So what I notice with that people do sometimes is they'll go like this, and one elbow will bend, or one elbow will bend so they could go over their head. That's not what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to have straight arms and come up and over. So the shoulder joint goes through a pretty big range of motion, and a lot of the muscles that move that joint, there's been a lot of issues, it seems, with people with upper back and neck. So I'd like to get some movement here and some stretch in the muscles there. Come all the way back, stay here if you can. Let your heart lift up, look across the room, let your throat be open. And then bring yourself back up right above you. I'd like to do a lateral bend here. So whether you're in the heroes, the Vajrasana pose, or you're in this pose like this, hold on to your strap. It'll help to lengthen. And especially if you have shoulder issues, the one that's going up in the air, if you redirect some of that pressure from the shoulder by squeezing the strap, letting the strap down low moves well. Feel that stretch as you move the lower ribs away from the top of the pelvis, or that hip bone area where they're attached, lengthening the obliques. And let's do one more each side. Another great thing to do for those of you with low back issues to create space in your lower back. And then bring yourself back to center. Okay. So we're going to do one more that's going to be for strengthening the muscles between the back. I often teach this in a chair. So if you'd like to come, I think that the heroes pose is the best pose for those of you that can get into it. So if you could be in heroes, this would be great. Or you could be up here like this. Let's do this to strengthen the muscles in the back. Take your strap like this. Go like that. Pull it, pull it, pull it. So it's really, and then you're going to bring the strap above your head. And I'm going to be at the side because I want to show you this. Your strap. So make sure you're not too wide. Okay. It's not this wide. You want to be about this width. And you want to bring the strap up, pull the strap, and then slide the strap back down. Don't let the strap touch your head. So that's where the challenge comes. Try to keep your chin parallel to the floor. So don't let your chin, your underneath chin, let it be parallel. You go up and you go down. The muscles in between the shoulder blades, like a V, let the V come towards a point in the center of your back. Feel those muscles pulling towards each other to pull the hands down. You inhale to lift up, and you exhale, let that V come towards the center, strengthening the muscles of posture and the muscles that will support the spine. One more, and then exhale to lower. Stay down. Let that V come towards a point in the very center of your back, behind the heart line. And don't let the strap rest on your head. Lengthen your head. Push the strap back away from you. Squeeze the shoulder blades, the tips of the shoulder blades towards each other. Yes, you may feel heat. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out for a second. So we created a lot of tension and a lot of stress there in the upper back. So if you can now, I'd like you to come onto your feet to keep our feet open. So I'd like you to sit in your feet like this. And I know some of you can't, so if that's you, just be up a little higher. But if you can keep this mobility in your feet, it's nice to try to keep this mobility in your feet, sitting on your heels. Let's take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down, forward, up, back, and down. And then bring the shoulders back and up and forward. So this could be done in a chair. It could be done in an easy seat. Nice to do some shoulder work. Then shrug up one shoulder, shrug up the other. And then do both and release. So feel that tension, 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 and then release one more. And then release. And your feet probably at this point are feeling a little something, right? Okay, so let's bring one foot forward. Woo. Coming up like this, you'll notice that there's a little, come onto your heel. You'll notice there's a balance aspect here. Hands are on the waist, get nice and tall. And then imagine you have an egg right where your leg attaches to your body. So press the heel into the floor and just bring your body forward a little bit. You'll feel a stretch behind that leg on the leg that's stretched out. You'll feel a stretch behind that thigh. And then come back up. I'm always amazed at how much balance this requires. Or maybe that was that side for me because that was my hip replacement side. Maybe not. All right. Coming onto your heel of that outstretched leg and press into the foot on the back, the top part of the foot and the heel. And then you're just going to flex your body forward. Feel that stretch here, feel that tension there. Maybe behind your whole leg, you feel that. And then let's go ahead and bring ourselves up. So getting a little freedom there of the back of our legs that attach to the buttock area. So we're gonna come down onto the floor. Let's take the blanket there. So before we go down on the floor, we're gonna do some windshield wiper action. This is your pelvic area. This is your rib cage area. And then the muscles in between that are the muscles that rotate. And the only joint part here is that lower lumbar spine. So we're going to do some twisting action with windshield wiper legs to free up that. This is some of my favorite way to release tension in my body is to do this. So let's come to the side or roll all the way down. Before you come down, you're going to need a block for this. So when you're down on the floor, you're going to need your block. Let's take your hand away and bring yourself on to the mat so that the blanket is behind your head. And then just rest for a second. I think today so far we've actually had there's definitely been some muscular demands in the class, and definitely a little stretching that was deep. Whenever you're up on your standing or seated, you're putting more weight in stretching. So when you're in the supine position, it's a little more gentle of a stretch, although you could still go pretty deep. But when you start to do seated or all fours or on your shins like that, it definitely gets deeper when you start to add the body weight. So letting everything settle, letting the body settle here, we're going to do some windshield wipers. Let your blanket be only underneath your head and your neck, and then lift your head up so you feel the center of your head on the blanket, and let your feet be wider than your body. Knees fall into each other. Let's do a little here to soften up our neck, take some tension out of the neck. We're going to do neck side to side. So inhale, and then as you exhale, let your head go towards one direction slowly. Inhale to come back up to center, and slowly exhale the other direction. Inhale back up, and then exhale. Inhale back up, and exhale. So go slow, close your eyes. For those with upper back and neck tension, doing it slow like this, the inhale brings you back up to center, and the exhale lets your neck move towards the side. So the exhalation is a potential for release and letting go. And if you do this with breath and movement, you slow it down. You go as far as you can in one direction and then as far as you can in the other direction. Using the breath, the inhale bringing you back to center and the exhale bringing you to the side.
It could be a really nice way to even calm you down. I don't know if any of you are feeling that now in that short few rotations and movements we just did. I'm feeling pretty relaxed. Okay, I would like you to take your hands behind your head, let your arms be out to the side. We're going to stretch our neck here. So let the hands do the work and let the arms and the hands be what moves the head. So your head is heavy here. You're going to draw your arms towards each other and bring the arms close to the head so that as if the arms were hugging your head. And then let the hands and the arms take your head. So don't let the muscles lift you up. You could actually think about your lower ribs moving towards your spine if you need a little assistance from core muscles. But let your chin go straight towards your chest so that you feel a stretch going down the back, maybe all the way down to the shoulders, close to that area we were working when we did the strap. And then slowly bring yourself back down and out of that. Take your arms out to the side. Now move your, you could do a little rotation here. So moving towards the right, let's try that. Moving towards the right so that the right elbow goes down into the floor. And then you're moving your body, your upper body. So from your heart area on up, you've moved your body over to the left. Then you're going to bring the left arm up, bring the right arm up, and diagonally lifting your head off the floor over so that the elbows are moving towards the outside of the right knee. Feeling a stretch in a different part of your neck. And maybe even all the way down into the belly. So if you close your eyes, I want you to feel what you're stretching. We're going slow here. There is deep work taking place. I want you to try to find that appropriately. And try not to let the muscles of the head lift itself off the floor. Let the arms and the hands lift the weight of the head off the floor. Now you're going to slide your upper body over to the right. Sliding the upper body over to the right, let the left elbow touch the floor. Bring the right arm up towards the sky, and then bring the left arm so that the arms are cradling your head and your hands are behind your neck. And then you're going to let your hands and your arms lift the neck up off the floor, feeling the stretch wherever you feel the stretch. And then bring yourself down. So when I teach that, I'll say sometimes people actually, it's hard to find that relaxation in that upper back and neck area. And it's hard to let your hands and your arms do the work. So try to find that in your body so that you let everything else relax and you're able to stretch the upper back and neck area, place that holds a lot of tension. And then let's take the arms out to the side. I'd like you to be like a scarecrow. So begin with the arms out to the side, elbows are straight, and then start to bend the elbows. Keep the hands pretty close to the floor, okay? So don't let the hands go away from the floor because then you're going to go farther than you should. Let that fingernail stay on the floor. Find whatever you can in your body in a scarecrow position or goalpost position. And then take your feet, walk your feet to the edges of your mat. And let's begin slowly here. You're going to try to slide your shoulder blades towards each other. So push your head into the floor, lift your body up, slide the shoulder blades. Keep the rib cage on the floor. And you're going to inhale, letting the knees move to the side. Exhale, push the belly button back towards the spine and come up. Inhale. Try to keep the soles on the feet at first. So it's a smaller range of motion, and you're just trying to warm up the hip joint and lower extremities. Feel the sacrum on the floor, which is the center of your pelvis at the top, and it's the base of the spine. And then you're going to bring your legs back up to center. Walk your feet so that they're either off of the mat. If you could do off of the mat, if that spread leg position is available for you in your hip joints. So when we widen our legs like this, that's a hip joint movement. And some people have some tightness in the hips and it's a little harder to get this. So let's go slow at first as you inhale to let your knees go towards one side. So the knee that's coming in towards the center, we're going to do some work with that. So let's all come back up to center. We're all going to go in the same direction. So we're going to go towards the right. You're going to inhale. As you go towards the right, let the right leg just find its way. Bring your awareness to your left knee. And as you come in, keep the left foot on the floor and push the left knee away from you. So you're lengthening that left leg in the socket. And your right leg is just doing what it's doing, but you feel that length. And your left knee moves away from you so much that even that left hip joint no longer has a bend in it. It's totally flat. Take your hand down, see if you can rub that joint and try to find flat, or push your hip up to meet your hand in whatever range of motion you're able to do. And then exhale back to center. Let's do the same thing now. Going towards the left, let the right leg, as it comes in, push it away from you. Keep the right foot on the floor though. It's the kneecap that's pushing towards the foot part of your mat. And find that length in your body as you take that flexion out of that right hip joint. Exhale back to center. I wish I was there to see you guys because I'd really like to help you get this move. This is so therapeutic for the seat, taking that sitting posture out of your body. So for hip health, giving a lot of space in that hip joint. And then these hip flexors, they get tight. That's one of them is a quadricep. And then they pull on the knee. So for those of you, when you bend your knees and you feel that strong sensation pulling over your kneecap, that's the tendinous part, the end part of your quadricep muscles. And so this muscle, this rectus femoris muscle that we're really stretching when you lengthen your leg away from you, when you come into this movement, keeping that range of motion in that rectus femoris can be important for knee health and for hip health. And for hopefully freeing up those arthritic deposits in the joints once you are able to find that alignment in the joints. You inhale into the side, into that stretch. Feel that beautiful stretch. Exhale to come back to center. Close your eyes. This feels extremely yummy for me to do this. And I find this in my body often. It's a great way to start your day, to warm up, to get the juices flowing, lubricating your joints. The next time your legs come over to the left, let them stay there. Find that extra space in that right hip joint by lengthening that right leg away from you towards the foot part of the mat. Push your right foot into the floor. That'll help you, the big toe edge of the right foot. And then reach that right arm away, flex the wrist. Reaching that right arm away and flexing the wrist, find that nice space. And then bring your awareness to your lower rib cage and lift the lower right rib cage up with that right hand. So create as much space as you can in the right side. Breathe down to your belly, down to your diaphragm like you began class today, flexing the wrist. Some movements I do over and over in my classes because these are pretty staple and very therapeutic. This is one of them, the windshield wiper action. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Inhale to come to the other side. And then activate that left arm to lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. When I go to India and I practice yoga in a few different locations, this one is in almost all the practices that we do. Flex the wrist, reach that left hand away from you. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then let's bring ourselves back up. We're going to do a little bridge flow today. Really undulating your spine and trying to free up what's ever in the spine. Those arthritic deposits I was speaking of. That's what they're called in my book that I'm in my class I'm studying in India right now. The lineage I'm studying in, the man was a doctor. Both of them are, but the wisdom coming from a doctor, and he spoke about the forward folds. When we forward fold and we stretch our spine, how we're actually freeing up the arthritic deposits. And the bells went off in my head of scar tissue and bone spurs and all of the stuff that ends up making us not be able to move. It's actually protection in our body. And so if we could align our body and get our body to move properly in our joints, then we don't need those arthritic deposits. They could go back, be metabolized. So let's find that nice alignment so the body doesn't need to get stiff. And then put the block between your legs. Just let your legs go wherever they are. Take your hands behind your head. We're going to do spinal undulation. So cradle your hands in your head, elbows are up to the side. Inhale. As you exhale, push the low back into the floor first. Bring your chin to your chest. Bring your elbows towards each other. If you have osteoporosis, stay there. And if you don't, you could lift yourself up, bring a little flexion into the thoracic spine, and then inhale to lower. At the end of the inhale, let the low back come off the floor, but push the tailbone into the floor. So you do not lift your tushy off the floor. Exhale, your spine has 26 vertebrae. 24 of them are movable, and then the 2 that are in the pelvis are not. The sacrum and the coccyx are not. Try to get every vertebra here, all 24 of them, to move through flexion and extension, forward and backward, compressing the discs, removing tightness and stickiness, turning fluids from honey into water so that you could freely flow. One more. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your arms overhead. Inhale. As you exhale, let the low back touch the floor first. Squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy. Peel the spine off the floor one vertebra at a time. Let the arms go down alongside your body. And then inhale, place the vertebra on the floor one at a time as you come down. Let the low back touch first, and then the sacrum, and then the coccyx. Go slow here, undulating your spine as you lift up into spinal extension, mobilizing the spine, and then strengthening it as you lift up with the muscles that support the joints of the spine. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Last one. Exhale to rise. Begin with the low back on the floor. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the tushy. Let the hands come down alongside your body. Lift your body up. Lift the back ribs up. Push the heart up towards the nose. Stay here. Stay here. Bend your elbows. Palms face each other. Fingertips are up towards the sky. Press the upper arms into the floor to lift the ribs off the floor a little bit higher. Feel the weight in the upper back. Press your feet into the floor. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the tushy. Lengthen the knees away from you. Another movement you should bring into your life from now on. Daily or as often as you can. Take one more breath. And then slowly, with joint articulation, one at a time, pressing your spine into the floor at the back of your body. When you come to the lower ribs, lift the heels off. Pelvically tilt, posterior tilt. Try to place the low back on the floor first, before the top of your pelvis, your sacrum, and your tailbone make connection. Bring the blanket back behind your head. Take the block out to the side. Let's put the block underneath the pelvis. Let the top ridge of the pelvis touch the block. Rest yourself here. Let everything soften. Let everything go. If you'd like to bring your legs up into the air, so this is an inversion, bringing the blood back to the heart, to the brain. You could keep your feet on the floor, or you could bring your legs in the air. Allow the fluids to come back to the heart, back to the upper torso. Notice if your heart is beating here. We came out of a strengthening posture, so we used more oxygen or more oxygen demand. So for those of you that have cardiovascular health issues or are not moving a lot, whether it's fear of falling or issues in your tissues that are painful, when we do postures that are strengthening, there's an oxygen demand increase and there's a cardiovascular component to this practice. So even if you're lying here on the ground, you may not think that, but yes, there's an opportunity to strengthen your heart. And then in this inversion that we're doing here, there's an opportunity to help your heart, to give your heart fluid so it doesn't have to pump as often. So we're going to come into our Shavasana. You have all of those yummy props, so it would be nice if you'd like to either get your pillows or a bolster for underneath your knees or something so that you really set yourself up for nice relaxation here. The head is supported, the legs are supported, taking the weight of your body, coming into your Shavasana. So do whatever you need to do. Find something that makes you feel really nice and comfortable. If you have a blanket, put a blanket around yourself. That's also another loving gesture. And whenever we do those nice loving gestures, it's a great aspect of the practice. So allow yourself to let go, let everything go in the body. Palms can be up or down, legs can be spread, whatever. Just let yourself feel comfortable. Let your bag of bones relax. Add a smile on your face. Smiling stimulates some good stuff in the body and in the brain. Govinde mukande utare apare Kariyam kariyam Ninname akame Govinde mukande udare apare Kariyam kariyam Ninname akame Govinde mukande udare apare Hariyam, Hariyam, Name Kande, Govinde, Mukande, Udare Apare, Hariyam, Hariyam, Name Kande. So gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Allow your body to move in whatever feels appropriate for you. Keeping your eyes closed, feeling and noticing what you notice in your body. Notice if you were able to get a little more mobility in the joints today. Release some tension. Bringing yourself onto your right side. Cradle your head, stay here for a breath or two on your side. Then opening up your left hand, leading with that left shoulder, bringing yourself up to a seated position. We'll close our practice with sound, the sound Om, blending the Ah, the O, and the coming from the lower lobes, mid lobes, and the upper lobes of the lungs. The sound comes from the back of the throat to the middle of the throat to the lips. And when we're at the end of the allow that vibration to go all the way up to the crown of the head. So bring your hands together. This is our human sound of life. The bees buzz, the birds chirp, the cows moo, the dogs bark, the chickens cluck. And this is our sound. When we exhale, there's an open to a closed mouth, and the sound is ah, oo, All right, so let's make our human sounds together. Take your hands together, let the thumbs touch the sternum bone. Feel your spine after all this yummy spine work we did today. Lengthen the back neck, slightly tuck the chin down towards the chest. Deep breath down to your belly. We bow to each other, noticing and recognizing and honoring each other. Namaste. Thank you. I'd like to say a little bit about that human sound I was just speaking about. Different parts of the world heard it differently. And so A-U-M, Om, is what is mostly said in the East. And in the West, it's Amen. Amen. So Amen in the West, Om in the East. Other parts of the world have sounds that are very similar. It's our exhalation. So thank you so much. I hope your spine feels really yummy. That was a lot of spinal work today, whether we were opening, increasing the range of motion, and then supporting the muscles when we did our movements, strengthening the muscles that support that in the body. So I hope you feel really good. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. And of course,
I'd love to hear from you. I know some of you may have joined in at the end that I didn't realize you were here. Sorry for that little interruption of the Roomba. Highly recommend that dang thing, by the way. I haven't had to vacuum since. Well, it is a vacuum. Sharon, nice that you're here. Lauren, so happy you're here. Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, beautiful people. I love that. What do you call one water glass that quickly eats another water glass? A goblet. You see, isn't it fun? Great, Sharon. Glad you like that. Great, Claudia. Yeah, your spine. My spine feels great, so I hope that you all do. Michael, great. Joanne, Saturday friends are here. Thank you. You're welcome. Carolyn, great. Like and subscribe. You're so great, Sharon. Yeah, like this if you like this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You're welcome, Sue. You know, once we can start traveling again, I'll be traveling. And my hope is to be able to teach wherever I'm at. And for my YouTube video, I have to get up to 1,000 people in order to be able to do it on my phone. So that's my goal at a minimum to get up there. So I'm at almost 400. So thank you so much, Sue. You're welcome. Try to incorporate this into your life. This is not just what you do today in this class, but try to bring these movements into your daily living. Lynn and Dave, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks, Sharon. Joanne, yeah, we'll get there. All right, yeah, I haven't really started marketing. I have a course next Tuesday, Bone Health, 4 weeks, learning how to create your own home practice. And there's a nutritional aspect to that because that's where I'm getting my information about these arthritic deposits and about our minerals and how our minerals, and really, honestly, the calcium leaves the bones and the teeth, but 99% of it's in the bones. It leaves the bones to go to where it needs for protection. So it leaves our bones, which I believe is part of the contributing factor to bone density loss. And it goes to your spine because now it needs to protect your spine or your knee or whatever. So if we get ourselves into alignment and strengthen the muscles to hold us there, the calcium can go back to your bones. So that's the track I'm on. I think I'm right. And I think that I will be sharing that information. So anyway, have a beautiful Saturday, and I'll see you in my next class. Good, Lynn. I love that you're feeling yummy. Lynn laughed, George. Hope you saw that. Nancy, you're welcome. Leslie, I think that you've been here before, right? Anyway, nice to have you. Thank you. All right, everyone. I'm off. Bye.